everyone, it's Rose and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my August wrap up. I'm going to take you through every single book I read in August, let you know my thoughts, let you know my ratings, and we have some interesting books that I'm going to talk to you about in this video. Everything from 5-star to 1-star to DNFs. It was a chaotic reading month, to say the least. So I guess we're going to go straight into it because I'm excited to talk to you guys today. First up, we're going to do physical books, and as you can see, we've got quite the stack here. So I'm going to go through all the physical books I read, and then we're going to talk Kindle and audiobooks at the end because it's easier that way. The first physical book I read this month was The House We Grew Up In by Lisa Jewell, which I rated 3 stars. I love Lisa Jewell's writing. She does have a range of work. I rated her books everything from 5-star to 1-star. This was bang in the middle. I would definitely recommend Lisa Jewell. I probably wouldn't recommend this one to start with. It wasn't bad. It was just... there was a plot twist in this book which I can't tell you because obviously it's a spoiler, but it made me feel so grossed out and I couldn't enjoy the rest of it. But like Lisa always does, she pulled some crazy plot twists in this. This is a thriller, but it's kind of slower paced than her other books. Next book I read was When in Rome by Sarah Adams, which I actually ended up rating 4 stars. This was a bit slow to get into, but once I was into it, it was so good, so funny. This book had me laughing out loud so many times. I love Sarah Adams' humour. This is my first book from her. I'm definitely going to be reading more. This is inspired by Audrey Hepburn's movie about Rome. Roman Holiday, I think it's called. But it's about this famous singer who wants to get away from her life, and she loves Audrey Hepburn movies, and she wants to go to Rome like Audrey Hepburn did in the movie, I assume, but she goes to Rome, Kentucky, because that's the closest Rome, and she meets a small town baker when her car breaks down in this small town with no service, no signal, no Wi-Fi, and she's stuck there. Very sweet, very funny, some very important messages in this book, and I really liked it. Then we have Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I listened to this on an audiobook because I was so scared I was going to ruin this very late edition. I mean, I showed this book off so many times. If you're not new to my channel, you're probably sick of it, but they're my favourite sprayed edges ever. So this is a fantasy romance, young adult. There's a war going on with gods. There's 2 rivals at work, and she's writing letters through a magic typewriter, and someone's answering them, but she doesn't know that it's her nemesis, but he knows that it's her, and he's like, if I tell her, she's gonna stop writing. And it's like, I can't tell you any more than that, but it was really good and really cute and really fun, and I really liked it. I, in the beginning, really liked her brother, and by the end I did not like her brother. 4 stars. The next few books I read in my random number generator picks how long I read for video, so if you want to see my reactions to these, you can go check that video out. We have In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. I rated this 4.5 stars. I absolutely loved it. Elle was talking about this book literally maybe a year ago, and I remembered it and bought it immediately, and I'm so glad I did. This is dark academia thriller. I can't really tell you anything, and if you do want to hear my thoughts, like I said, go watch that video. Definitely recommend, definitely check trigger warnings. 6 friends, 1 college reunion, 1 unsolved murder, and all I will tell you is that because that's on the back. Go read this book. This was sent to me by Walker Books. This is a 10th anniversary edition of The Skies Everywhere by Jandy Nelson. Thank you to Walker Books. You can see my reactions to this in the video, but I rated this 3 stars because I really liked the writing, and the conversations on grief were really important. However, there is a love triangle in this book between this girl's dead sister's ex and another guy, and she picks one of them and one of them becomes her boyfriend, but then she's still getting with the other guy, and I was just like, at that point you've made your decision. If you're making it official, it's no longer a love triangle, you were just cheating on your partner, and it really, really annoyed me. My nails do match the cover though, so can't be too mad at it. 3 stars. I really like the writing. I did not like the story. However, then we've got a 5-star read. We have Ghosted by J.M. Darhauer. I've talked about this book quite a few times, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I did cry at the last 2 words. I kind of guessed it was coming because the author had written that into the story previously, so I knew like the signs to look out for, but it still made me sob. This is a second chance romance between a woman who lives in a small town and this guy who is a famous TV star, but years ago they had a kid together, and the kid doesn't know that her favourite superhero on TV is played by her dad. So good. 5 stars. This was sent to me by Walker Books as well. I get spoiled by Walker Books. This is The Revelry by Catherine Webber. I rated this one 3.5 stars. It's young adult magical realism. It's not quite fancy, but it's magical. It was really cute, really sweet, really fun. It was on the younger side of YA. Yeah, it was good. I rated it 3.5 stars. The main reason it wasn't more than that is because it was just too short. As you can see, the writing's quite big too, so I wanted to hear more, basically, but it was fun. Okay, then I read All the Black Places by Jennifer Niven. I'm one of the last people to read this book, and I actually technically DNF'd it about 60 pages from the end because I knew where it was going and I didn't want to put myself through that. It wasn't because it was bad, it was because it was very, very dark. I skimmed the last couple pages to see if I was right, and I was. Please check trigger warnings if you're gonna read this book. This book starts with 2 people meeting when they're both about to jump off the school building, basically. So you can probably tell what I meant by check trigger warnings, but I couldn't do that to myself. I had to finish my challenge early after reading this book because I just didn't want to read anything. I wanted to sit and cry. So if I were to give it a rating, I would have rated it 4 stars because I really like the writing. I just couldn't bring myself to read the end, and that is okay. However, I DNF'd this book for a completely different reason. Before I Met You by Lisa Jewell. Remember what I said about Lisa Jewell? She has 5 stars and she has 1 stars. This was a whole lot of 1 star. I DNF'd this book at page 400. It was over 400. I was so determined to not DNF this book, and I just couldn't anymore. If that doesn't tell you about this, I don't know what does. I can't even tell you what happened in this book. Some of the language is just interesting. There was also a lot of, there was racism, homophobia, ableism, classism, sexism, everything under the sun was in this book. I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. I wouldn't recommend. Next up, this was sent to me by Walker Books as well. Walker Books, like I said, they really do spoil me, and this is Never Trust a Gemini by Freya Nicole Wolf. This is out now. This was a proof copy, but it's out now. This book was so good. It's sapphic, rom-com. There's a lot of astrology in it, which I am not like big into astrology, but this book was really funny. If you like the Confessions of Georgia Nicholson books, gives me those vibes. So cute. It was just, the reason it wasn't 5 stars is because it did get a bit cringy at sometimes with the things she was saying, because it's written like it's her diary, and she's 14 and she says a lot of cringy 14-year-old things. So that's why it wasn't 5 stars, but I really, really liked it, and I definitely recommend. And we have JoJo's Bizarre Adventure 01 Part 1 Phantom Blood. I rated this one 3 stars. This is my brother's favourite manga series, so I read it just so we could talk about books together. I'm very confused by this book, so I need to have a debrief with him because I don't know what happened, but I rated 3 stars because I did enjoy what I did understand. but I'm not smart enough to explain to you what happens in this book. This is the last physical book and it's my current read. I haven't technically finished it yet. I'm just over halfway through. This is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This has the potential to be a 5-star read. I'm absolutely loving it. I love Abby Jimenez's work. So good. It's a rom-com, but there's deeper topics too. And I really like how her books always explore deeper topics. It gives it so much more depth in the story, and you feel for the characters so much, and I'm loving it so far. Let's go on to books I don't have physical copies of. It's hot in here. I don't have the copies to hold up. I either read them on my Kindle or I listened to them as audiobooks, and I'm just gonna go on my Goodreads to make sure I get all the authors' names right, because I haven't written the authors' names down. We started off the month. It was actually the first book I read, with The X by Freida McFadden. I'm such a big Freida McFadden fan. I think there's 3 of her books that I haven't read yet, and then I will have read everything that woman has written. I love them so much, and this one was no different. I rated it 4 stars. I suggest going into Freida McFadden's books blind, so I'm not going to tell you anything about them, but they're all thrillers. Psychological thrillers, really. They all have crazy plot twists, really fast paced, really short chapters. They're all on Kindle Unlimited, and I think I'd recommend all of them. Her new book is out today, so after this video is made and edited, I'm gonna binge that whole thing. But yeah, I rated it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it, and I definitely recommend. Then I read A Woman Scorned by Jack Jordan. I really like Jack Jordan's books. This was, I think it was only 150 pages, so I think it was a novella, 123 pages. I rated it 3 stars. I can't really tell you anything about it because not only is it the thriller, so I don't want to give you too much info, but it's also a novella. All I can say is the front cover says, "Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned." That's the premise of the book, basically. I rated it 3 stars. It was good. It was just really short, so I didn't have enough time to get attached to the characters. Next, I read The Kiss Thief by LJ Shen. I rated this one 2 stars. I didn't like the guy at all. I didn't like any of the characters, really. The girl was okay. It just wasn't for me. I think it's like forced marriage, mafia, kind of. I didn't like how the whole thing was basically, you have to be pure until you're married. You can't even have kissed anyone until you're married, and then you're not allowed to go to college, and you're not allowed to get a job because that is not a woman's place in the world. You just need to be a baby machine, basically. Hate that. So 2 stars. I think it was, the reason it was 2 stars instead of 1 star is because I don't think her husband agreed with that, and I think he let her go off to college. That's what I mean by we're pushing it with the 2 star, really. Maybe it's a 1.5. I just really didn't like that book. Next up though, I read The Surrogate Mother by Freida McFadden. I rated this one 4.5 stars. It was so good. I loved it so much. And what I thought was kind of happening while I was reading Freida McFadden's books is her writing, my favourite books are all more recent, but I think this one was written a few years ago. The Surrogate Mother, 2018, yeah, so it's it's the oldest book I've read from her, and I rated it 4.5 stars. I really liked it. It was really good. Loads of plot twists that I couldn't see coming, and I definitely recommend. You're really gonna do building work right now? Next up we have First Comes Marriage by Bryony Rosehurst. This was a little audiobook I listened to. It was a novella. It was, I think, 3 hours. It wasn't long. It was really cute. It was like a reality TV show, kind of like, I guess, Marriage at First Sight. What I'm assuming that is about, because I've never actually watched it, but they don't know each other and then they marry each other, and it's 2 women, which always makes it better. What did I end up rating it? 3.5 stars. I did enjoy it, but like with a lot of novellas, I can't get attached to the characters. And I read Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon and rated it 4 stars. I really like this one. This is academic rivals to lovers. It's young adult. It's so cute, so fun, and I really liked it. And I definitely need to read more from Rachel Lynn Solomon. So if you've read more of her books, let me know where I start. I don't know how many she has, but I know she has others. And I read Cheer Up, Love and Pom-Poms by Crystal Fraser. This was a graphic novel on Kindle Unlimited. It was very cute. It was sapphic. I feel like I've read a lot of sapphic books this month and I am anything but mad about it. It was really sweet. It had trans rep, lesbian rep. I'm not sure the sexuality of some of the other characters, but there was a lot of representation and I really liked it. I rated it 4 stars. Then I read The Perfect Son, another book by Freida McFadden, and I rated this one 4 stars. It was really good. I wouldn't have guessed those plot twists again. Really messed up. Oh my god. That's all I can tell you about her books because I don't want to spoil anything. You should go in blind, but check trigger warnings for all of her books. 4 stars, absolutely loved it. Then I read Princess Ever After by Kay O'Neill, which was another graphic novel. I think it's middle grade. It was also on Kindle Unlimited. I think it was literally 60 pages. I rated it 3 stars because it was really fun, but there was not much to it. I'm just gonna brush past the next book I read. I read Property of Pops by Jessica Cain. I rated it 1 star. There was no plot to it. I don't want to talk about it, okay? The only reason I didn't DNF it was because it was literally 80 pages, so I just pushed through. And then the last book I just finished listening to was Under Lock by Mariana Zapata. I love Mariana Zapata. She is the queen of slow burns. I've only read a few of her books, but I need to read more. This involved a tattoo shop that main girl was working at. There was like biker gangs. Her dad was the leader of a biker gang. I really liked her like relationship with one of her brothers. Yeah, I really liked it. I think I'm gonna rate it 4 stars, but I'm not completely sure, so I will let you know if that does change. But yeah, it's most likely gonna be a 4 star. If you want updates, my links are all linked down below so you can see why I end up rating it. And that is everything I read. 23 books, a lot. Very mixed bag. I think I had 1 5-star. Yeah, only 1 5-star and a few 1 stars. We have 2 1 stars, a DNF, and a couple 2 stars as well. But we did get a 5-star and a new favourite, so I can't be too annoyed. But that is everything I read in August. I can't wait to see what my September ends up looking like, because if you haven't watched my last video, I picked up my TBR completely randomly. So I don't really have any clue what most of the books on my TBR this month are like. So hopefully I'll get to them, but I'm making no promises. If you'd like to see more from me, please be sure to like and subscribe as I post new videos every single Monday. I hope you have a lovely day and I'll see you in another video. Bye!